Now we're ready to start up the first program, which is Maestro. We double click on the Maestro icon. It may take a little bit for it to load, but one of the things you're going to look at, there's attempting to connect, and it'll say connected. Once it's connected, it means the Maestro program is actually talking with the electronics at the base of the telescope. You may come up with a message asking to update the time. Please go ahead and select yes. The other thing is it's loading a database. It takes a few seconds to load this. Please wait until we get the database successfully loaded message before you do anything else with the program. There's a progress bar in the lower right-hand corner. It's still in progress. Okay, once that's done, it's ready to go for the next step. There's also a log message window down here at the bottom, so if you're not sure of something, you can read down here. At the very bottom, it says Maestro Loaded Sky Object Database, so you know that it's been loaded. There's one other thing. In this, you'll need to be dependent upon the time of the year, the time zone. In Central Daylight Savings Times, we need to have the time zone set to 5:00 West. If it's during the standard time zone, in other words, the winter months, then this would be 6:00 West. Now we're ready to line up the telescope. Okay, next thing we're going to do is actually set up the telescope to go to an alignment star. Most likely, well, the way it's set up, we look at something in the eastern part of the sky. It's a lot easier and a lot quicker than looking at something in the western part of the sky. Since I know that this time of year I'm going to look at Arcturus and I know roughly where it is, one of the things we want to do is move the ladder out of the way so the telescope won't hit it. In order to move the ladder, there's a step at the base that you step on, which will raise the ladder up on its wheels. We move this around. Now, a little secret too is if you want to close the step, put the ladder back down on its stand without making an incredibly loud noise, if you hold up on the ladder, step on the step, and then lower the ladder, it doesn't go bang real loud. Okay, now we're going to go back to the Maestro program to select our alignment star. Now the screen may have gone into timeout, so just wiggle the mouse and it'll come back. Now, we've got a particular procedure in which we do the alignment. There's a lot of choices on Maestro, but we just want to use the one. On the screen, there's alignments from stars and that sort of stuff, so we want to do align from stars. We're going to click on that. It's going to come up with starting positions, and the one we want to select is at zenith from east. Go ahead and click next. If it doesn't pop up, there's a drop-down bar. You can scroll through and find it, but that should be the default. Once that pops up, click next. You may get a message that says approaching east or west soft limit switch. What those are is the telescope program has limits to allow it, that will prevent the telescope from moving too far to the east or too far to the west, which means it could run into something, hit somebody, or do something to affect the operation. We're okay, so just go ahead and click OK. Now for tonight, because of the time of the year, I know I'm going to want to go to the star Arcturus. So at the top, there's bright proper stars. There's a drop-down icon, so I'm going to click on the down arrow, and I'm going to scroll down until I get Arcturus, and then I'm going to click on Arcturus. Okay, after I've selected my star and clicked next, it's going to come up with the alignment wizard. There's a bunch of options here: align, go to, reselect, and cancel. We don't want to do anything right now because what we have to do is set the telescope to point at zenith. The way the software knows where it is and goes to the alignment star is it assumes that the telescope is pointed straight up. So that's the next thing we're going to do, is point the telescope straight up. In order to do that, I'm going to need the hand controller. Okay, now this is one of the times you do not want to use the slew rates. So I'm going to press the bottom center button to take off the slew, so the LED will be off. Now I'm on my tracking speeds. Now, this box here has something called accelerometers, which allow us to determine which way the telescope is pointing. This is a momentary switch, so I just flip it up once. You notice I've got red LEDs. Basically, that's saying that I'm out of alignment up and down and left, right. Once I get this centered, I'm going to use the slow motion controls here to center this, and what my goal is to have the 4 inner LEDs all lit up, and they are all green. So if you don't remember which way you're going, I usually just go the opposite. Okay, I overshot, so that was a little fast. So I'm going to press the velocity button and decrease the speed once. Now I know I went to the left, that was too far, so I'm going to go back to the right. This time it's going a little slower. Okay, you see I've got these two. The two left-right green LEDs means the telescope is centered going left and right. Now I want to do it up and down. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the down arrow, press the button opposite of the LED. Okay, this is blinking a little bit. I'm going to move the other way just a smidge. Technical term. This is good enough. So press the button up again. It's a toggle switch. It turns it off. Picked up the hand controller because this provides you with an easy way to stop the next process should something go wrong. What we're going to do, the telescope is set up at zenith. I've selected an alignment star of Arcturus, and on the screen I've aligned, go to, reselect, and cancel. I'm going to click go to. Now, it's important that earlier on we've moved the ladder out of the way. We have an idea where the telescope is going to slew. However, during any part during this next movement, if we think, oh, it's going to hit something, I can press any of the buttons on the direction keys up here and halt the operation of the telescope. Okay, and then we can move the ladder or whatever needs to be moved and then continue. Tonight I'm going to assume that I know what I'm doing, and we're going to go to Arcturus and there's nothing in the way. If you get the approaching east or west soft limit switch, again, just click OK. We're good for alignment. So let's click go to. The telescope will start slewing to where it thinks Arcturus is. Again, if something messes up, I can press one of these keys to stop it. I'm not going to do that right now. It takes a few seconds for the telescope to line up. But when it gets to where it thinks Arcturus is, it will stop.
Where does it think Arcturus is?
85 and 25.
Yeah, it's low on the eastern horizon, just a little bit north of east. It'll stop though.
Getting ready to grab the ladder.
Oh, look at that.
You have little faith.
I thought it was going to be a bit higher than that.
Okay, so now we're ready for the next part, which is to fine-tune the alignment. Maestro has put the telescope where it thinks Arcturus is. The next thing we have to do is use the hand controller and the eyepiece to fine-tune it and center it. One of the things we need to do first is move the ladder close enough so I can actually get to the eyepiece. So again, if you step on the little lever at the bottom, that'll put the ladder back up on its wheels. I move it close enough to where I think I can climb up and reach the eyepiece. Again, I'm going to hold up on the ladder, step on the step, and then lower it so it doesn't make that big loud crash. Okay, grabbing the hand controller, I want to make sure, again, it's not on the slew speed. So if the slew button at the bottom center is on, if the LED is on, press it to turn it off. Now I'm back in tracking modes. Again, there's 4 speeds here, so they go from very, very slow, 1x up to 16x, which is 16 times the sidereal motion. So if you're moving too fast or too slow, just hold that button and either press the up or down button to either increase or decrease the speed. So I'm going to go up to the eyepiece. And again, I've used a 40mm eyepiece, so I've got a wide field of view. I should be able to see if everything's gone correctly. Arcturus should be in the field of view, and now what I want to do is center it in the center of the eyepiece. Again, you may have to focus. And again, there's a 10-to-1 reducer, so if you get it roughly focused, you can use the slow speed to center it or fine-tune it. Now, it's a little bit out of the field of view, so what I'm going to do is use these up, down, left, and right arrows to center it. Okay, so using the slow controls on here, I will move the telescope a little bit. It's a little too fast, so I'm going to slow it down 2 notches. Arcturus is pretty much centered in the eyepiece. So now I'm ready to do the next step on the fine-tune alignment, which is go back down and tell Maestro that we're synced. Okay, now Maestro's centered on Arcturus. What we want to do is bring up the sky software in order to control the telescope. So if I double click on the sky icon, it'll come up. You may get a brief message, just click OK. Now the sky is open, but it's still not communicating with the telescope. Maestro is actually communicating with the telescope electronics. Now we need the sky to communicate with Maestro. In order to do that, we go up to the telescope menu item, click on telescope, and we're going to click on Link and Establish. What that does is it tells the sky to start talking to Maestro. If it does this correctly, then what you should see is there's going to be a white crosshairs centered on Arcturus. What that means now is the sky knows exactly where the telescope is pointing. It's pointing at Arcturus. Now we can use the sky to go anywhere else we want to in the visible night sky.